Hey guys, looks like people are already joining. I'm super, super excited. We've got some really, really fun things in store. Holy cow, we've already got 81 people here, which is awesome. I'll be honest, the second I saw that there were over 700 people registered, I was like, oh my gosh, this might just be one of the biggest webinars I've ever done. So I am super happy that you guys are here today. You're going to walk away from this with a ton of information and knowledge that you're going to be able to apply immediately. But first things first, I would love for you guys to say hi in the chat. Let me know that you can see me, hear me, etc. But also, I want to hear where you guys are from. So feel free to share in the chat where you're tuning in from. If you're from another country, feel free to tell me what country. If you're from the United States, especially if you're from Minnesota, I want to hear about it. So I'll wait and see who's all here. It looks like we've got an awesome crew here, which I'm so excited about. Oh my gosh, we've got people from all around the world. I know that a lot of people are joining. It's the middle of the night. So thank you for joining. I know that sometimes you see awesome events and you're like, okay, is this going to be worth it? Is this going to be worth my time? And the answer is yes. We're going to have a blast on this webinar and you're going to learn some awesome things. Oh, and Casey's here from St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm from Eden Prairie, which is awesome. Love Minnesota. Hello, everybody. You guys are blowing up the chat. Awesome to see you guys here. So real fast, I'm just going to make sure a couple of things before we get started. And then I want to make sure you guys can see my screen. If you have a paper and pen near you, that is super helpful so you can take notes because you are going to be learning a system on this that works every single time. So I want you guys to make sure that you take ample notes so that you get your questions answered and so that you don't have any questions as you start to run through the full system. So everyone, do you have a paper and pen or a notepad on your computer where you can take notes? If so, then we are good to go. If you need another minute, that's fine. I'll drink some water and get my screen all set up for you guys. Okay. Awesome. Wow, you guys are literally coming from the entire world. I see Germany, Puerto Rico, Philippines, UK, Florida, wow, from the Caribbean, living in Portugal, Dubai, Russia, India. Wow, you guys are literally from everywhere. That is so cool. All right, you guys ready for this? We're going to have a ton of fun. So let me just make sure that you guys can see the screen for the presentation, which should say, welcome guys, then you are totally set. If you can see it, just say, yeah, Rachel, we're good. And the one thing with this presentation is that I won't be able to focus on the presentation and be able to check everything going on in the chat. So if you have any questions, just be sure that when you type in your question, you change that little speech bubble to the thing that says Q&A. So it marks it in red for me to answer at the very end, and I will answer all of your questions at the very end of this. So be sure to stay. I will cover everything. You guys will be super excited to have all of your questions answered. So first and foremost, welcome you guys. I'm very excited about this. Most of you probably have never heard of me before, which is pretty fun and exciting. This presentation, this webinar is actually going to be a full training system for you guys, how to become a fully booked social media manager. Now, let me just say, you guys are in the right place if you want to be a fully booked social media manager. If that's you, say me in the chat. You are in the right place if you want to be a fully booked social media manager. You are in the right place if you're ready to have a job or even just a side gig that you absolutely love. If that's you, say, heck yes, Rachel, in the chat. You are also in the right place if you love social media and wouldn't mind getting paid to play. I mean, it sounds almost a little bit too good to be true, but I'll let you guys know it really isn't. So if you love social media and wouldn't mind getting paid to play, I want you to say this one or this person, this girl, this guy, whatever, in the chat so I know that that is you. Wow, it looks like you guys are really excited about all these different possibilities. You are also in the right place if, and you guys will see exactly why, if you are fed up with your 9 to 5, meaning your day job, and you're looking for a new option. If that's you, say yep in the chat. And one last one, if you are wanting so desperately freedom, both financially and with your time, then you are in the right place. If that's you, put freedom in the chat. Awesome. Some people here have already quit their jobs, which is pretty cool. Normally, I am wearing my shirt that says, I'm the boss. That is a shirt that I reserve for certain people who have left their job and they're doing this full time, because let me tell you guys, it is so rewarding. But let's dive on in. So I'm Rachel Pedersen. Most people know me as a social media manager, a social media educator, an entrepreneur. I've had an incredible career already. I've been doing this for about 2 years, and I've been pretty well known on some parts of the internet for my work, going viral for myself, going viral for my clients, managing social media for some pretty big and influential brands and influencers. It's something that I actually, yes, get paid to do every single day. This is my home setup. It's where I'm sitting right now. This is a part of exactly what I do every single day, creating content, creating videos, graphics, all kinds of different things for each of my clients. But what some people don't know is that I'm also a mother to two. I've got two very, very sweet little Spitfire girls. Dakota is the brunette and Delilah is the blonde. And they're seriously amazing, you guys. They're like mini entrepreneurs in the training. I am also a loving wife. I've got an incredible husband who supports me through absolutely everything. And I'm a killer canasta player. Did anyone here play canasta? One of my favorite games. We try to play it several times a week, and it's one of my absolute favorite games. Canasta for the win. If anyone here likes canasta, you are officially my new best friend, because I feel like it's only like me and then really old people. So all right, guys. Well, 2 years ago, my life looked nothing like how it does today. And we won't dive into this too much, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of the reference so you can understand how much has changed. 2 years ago, I was working full time in a corporate job. And I was working over 50 hours a week, because it was an 8 to 5. And then there were, of course, networking events that we had to go to and different, trade shows. And the thing that was so tough about it all was that I was just exhausted. I was waking up every day and going to a job that I didn't love. There were a lot of things that were great about that job, but I just felt incredibly stuck. I felt like I was sitting there building something for somebody else. And, my husband and I would only see each other for a little bit every single evening. And some of you guys can relate to this who are working in a 9 to 5 right now. It's like you're basically living your life to work for someone else. And I just found myself just so incredibly fed up. My final straw was actually when one day I got called into my boss's office after having called in sick for a few days to be with my daughter when she was sick. And they wrote me up. And I was so upset about it, because it reinforced this idea that I was building someone else's business. And those of you in a 9 to 5, you might relate to this. I just wanted freedom. Like, I was like, this can't be all there is. Am I just going to work like this forever? I can barely pay down my debt. I can't afford vacations, a house. Forget about it. It's just not going to happen. And so I kind of always just imagined that life would never put us into a place where I'd feel like lucky or whatever. I felt so out of control. So my breaking point was when I started to envision my daughters and them having field trips, them wanting to be picked up from school, them, like forgetting their lunch at home and somebody needed to drive it to them. And this recognition that was literally what life was going to be like forever. Working 8 to 5, I was literally going to spend my entire life sending my kids not only to a nanny or daycare during the day, but then having them go to before school and after school activities. And not to mention, my husband was working, honestly, like almost 12-hour days every single Monday through Friday and some Saturdays. So almost every single day. And I wasn't okay with that. And my daughters are, like I said, Spitfires, and I wanted to prove to them that something better was possible. Now, it's been about 2 years. Actually, it's been a little bit less than 2 years, but it was October of 2015. So about a year and a half ago, a little bit more than a year and a half ago, I finally decided that was not going to be how my life was going to play out. In a past position, I had a client who had asked me to just help her out with some social media. So I went to her house. I didn't know a lot. I wasn't an expert by any means, but I just knew that she knew nothing. I mean, the first conversation that we had about social media, she said, "Can you show me your Twitter?" And it took me forever to figure out that she was talking about Twitter. And I realized, okay, there's this need that they have. They need support in social media. And I'm not an expert, but I know more than them. So I can support them and help them and get paid for it. And when I got that first, check, I realized, I think this is the start of something. But it took me a little while to realize that it was actually going to end up becoming my career. So October 2015, I created a very, very ugly website and just decided that it was time to get clients. Well, that sounds really easy in theory, but those of you who are on this, you're probably saying like, okay, that's great. Where do clients come from? Where do we get clients? Rachel, I don't have a network. Rachel, nobody knows who I am. I don't have some massive email list. That's okay. I didn't have any of those either. I had no email list when I started in October of 2015. I had really, really a small network and they weren't really business professionals. So I completely transformed everything. Since then, I have grown my email list to over 8,000, but that's not what this is about. I have enjoyed $20,000 to $30,000 months on the agency side of my business. So working with clients on their social media, doing Facebook ads, working on their marketing. Yes, and that is exactly how much we bring in almost every single month is somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 just on the agency side today. But obviously not all of us need 20 to 30,000. Sometimes it's 5 to 10,000. So I decided it was all going to change. And I was so glad that I took those first couple of steps. A couple of other things that completely changed. 6 months after I started this journey, I left my 9 to 5. About a year after I started the entire process, I retired my husband from his job. I was sick of saying goodbye to him every single morning. So I retired him. We were able to hire a family member to be a nanny for our kids. All of a sudden, everything started to come together. And today I have a team of 10 people. I'm mentored by people like Russell Brunson. And actually, Russell Brunson himself is one of my mentors. He's amazing in the online marketing space. And I network with incredible influencers every single day. It's completely different than how life has ever looked. It wasn't a matter of that lucky factor. It was something that I decided intentionally was going to change. Now, the most important part of all of this for me is that my kids and I get to wake up like this. So the most important part for me was that idea of my kids actually knowing who their mom was and not having a mom who was stressed about, finances. How are we going to pay for our bills? And then wanting to work more because we need to make more. My kids get to wake up with a mom who absolutely is loving her life, not stressing about finances. My husband doesn't stress. We've had the ability to not only this month buy our dream home for our family, but also to take our first vacations. Just so you guys know, that's a really, really, really big deal for me. I didn't grow up taking vacations. And so the idea of a vacation always felt like a dream, that's something that's something rich people do. And we just took a trip to the Dominican Republic, my husband and I, to finally get a redo honeymoon. And this Christmas, we're bringing our kids to Disney. And it's night and day difference once I took control of how my life was going to go. But all of that doesn't matter if I don't teach you guys the exact system that I used to get the ball rolling, to become fully booked, and to get myself out of my 9 to 5. So are you guys excited about hearing about this system? And I have good news for you. It has nothing to do with setting up those elusive, magical formulas like just build all these funnels and run all these Facebook ads and you need this one webinar and pay me $50,000 for coaching. That is my good news for you. It is nothing like that. This is going to be a real system that is 100% implementable. So who's excited about this? Say me in the chat so I know who is pumped and ready. And it'll also tell me who's already had their coffee for the day. Now, the one thing I do ask is that you turn off all your distractions, because this isn't like every other webinar. I've been on my own share of webinars where there's nothing taught. I'm sure you guys have been on those before, where it's just basically one big sales pitch for something. And, you know, I'll be totally honest, I've been guilty of teaching one of those myself, and it doesn't sit right with me. This is going to be a really special webinar because you're actually going to get the exact steps that you need in order to get this started. Now, ready for it, guys? There is one place, there is one magical place, the best place in the entire world that you can generate leads on demand. It is my #1 source for free clients, and it was where I initially booked my first $32,000 worth of clients. Can you guys guess what that might be? Because the answer might just surprise you. Where do you think that one place is? I want to see what you guys come up with. I'm willing to bet some people will get it, but most people will probably have absolutely no idea. Let's see. Mindy says Facebook. Melanie says LinkedIn. Lena says Facebook. Bo, LinkedIn. So we're seeing Facebook, LinkedIn, Facebook, lots of Facebook, couple LinkedIns, Upwork. So many good guesses, you guys. That one source is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the most powerful platform for you to generate and secure clients without having to spend a single penny. I'm going to teach you guys the exact 4-step process that I took to secure clients, become fully booked, leave my 9-to-5, and anytime I want an additional revenue stream from a new client, I literally repeat this exact same process, and it works. Just a few months ago, I was like, oh, I want another client. Let's shoot for New York. And I did this exact process in New York and secured a $1,300 a month client in New York. And so this works every single time. The first step is, if you are taking notes, be sure to write this down. Optimize your profile. I'll get into what each of these mean, but optimize your profile. The second step is inbound marketing. Third step, lion connections. And the fourth step is outbound marketing. It's that simple. There are 4 steps in this process to secure clients, generate revenue, leave your 9-to-5, become fully booked. It's truly amazing. So step 1, we are going to talk about exactly how you optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now, optimizing your LinkedIn profile just makes it seem as though you know exactly what you're talking about. And here's kind of what led me to believe that LinkedIn would be a great way to secure clients. I remember when I was applying for a job and I would see other people applying for the job, and they would get the job interviews and they would get the job, you know, the job offer, and I wasn't. And I was like, oh, that's not fair. I know all the same things that they do. And I was like, why are they getting these job offers and I'm not? Well, when I looked at their LinkedIn profiles, I realized that they were using words a little bit differently and they had presented themselves a little differently than I was. So basically, their LinkedIn made them to look a lot better than I was, even if I had the exact same skills that they did. So I'm going to walk you guys through all the steps of optimizing your LinkedIn profile. The other thing that's kind of cool about this too, even if you don't want to become a social media manager or you want to become a social media manager for a company, you like working in corporate, this is pretty powerful. I use this exact process to bring myself from a position where I was making a pretty average income. This is several years ago, a pretty average income, to literally doubling it at my next position by optimizing my LinkedIn profile. So this is an incredible skill set, but we're going to focus on it for the purpose of becoming a fully booked social media manager. So step 1 is optimize your LinkedIn profile. You are going to want a super professional LinkedIn profile photo. I see so many people on LinkedIn who have selfies or wedding photos or a photo where they crop their friends out of the photo. Who here is kind of surprised by this, or who here hasn't really thought about optimizing your profile photo on LinkedIn? the thing about LinkedIn is it is a pretty business-oriented platform. It's different than Facebook. It is not the place where you want a super creative, goofy selfie. It's the place where you want a really nice photo shot head on. You're facing the camera. You're smiling. There's very little going on in the background. This is absolutely essential because your profile photo is the absolute first contact point or the first impression that anyone has of you. Step 2, your cover photo or your background photo on LinkedIn. Behind your profile photo, there is a background photo, and it is an area for you to optimize and make it super clear to potential clients exactly what you offer. So I personally am a fan of using the website like Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S, Pexels or Pixabay. And those two are fabulous for finding images that are royalty free. You can't get in trouble for using them. And then you go ahead and upload that as your cover photo on LinkedIn. Number 3, this is so important, you guys. I'm going to emphasize this several times over. Your headline on LinkedIn is absolutely essential. Your headline on LinkedIn basically tells all future and potential clients exactly what they can expect from you. So I'm guessing right now your LinkedIn headline says something like works at this and this store, or I do marketing, because when most of us set up our LinkedIn profiles, we weren't really thinking about the potential. We weren't really thinking about who was going to see it or what it really mattered with it. But your headline is basically like the biggest, juiciest worm that you're about to go fishing with, besides your profile photo. The two are so essential to optimizing your profile. So your headline should be something like social media manager, or it could say, I help businesses with their social media. It could say, awesome, thanks, Kat, for dropping that in the chat. So it could say something like, I specialize in Twitter growth. I am a social media manager for small businesses. I run social media for, and then fill in the blank. So you need to create something that makes it super obvious to business owners exactly what you do. Elizabeth, don't be bummed about not being on LinkedIn, because that means you literally haven't even started to tap into the possibility yet. That's exciting. Like, you have so much room to grow and honestly to create new connections. Step 4, your bio. Bios are super, super important because your bio is going to be what basically gives your credentials, your passion, your creativity. It basically is the place that truly it showcases what you are about. And so your bio is a place where you can actually tell a story rather than just filling it with, I worked here, I worked here, I worked here. Instead, what you can do is you can actually tell a story. Like, I was a stay-at-home mom who now has a passion for helping mom bloggers to optimize their blog through social media. So it's something like that. That's one of the ways that I highly recommend writing this story with your bio. And if you guys ever need examples of anything, at the very end, I'm going to share a link to my LinkedIn profile so you can kind of see what that's like. And then it gives a pretty good example for you guys. So let's see. Step 5, create a new position. Now, this one is kind of surprising, but when you create a position on social media, especially on LinkedIn, everybody is notified of this new position. And so even if you've never thought about being a social media manager before, or even if you've only done it on the side, creating a new position alerts everybody, hey, this is legit. This is what I am doing. I'm focusing on this. I'm excited about this. So you can say, owner at, and then a name of the business, or just simply you can put social media manager. And that is so powerful, you guys, because people can't hire you for something if they don't know that you do it. This is absolutely essential. So create this as a new position because you just created this for yourself. And by the way, there's the beginning of the whole becoming your own boss. You created a position for yourself. No one created or hired you for it. You built it and it's yours. Step 6. You are going to want to update your skills. Anyone who's been on LinkedIn before has probably seen skills. So it's like marketing, sales. It might say skills such as like Microsoft Word or all the different skills that you've had in your corporate position. Update those skills with skills that have to do with social media. So you could put Twitter marketing, you could put Facebook ads, you could put social media marketing, social media management, and try to come up with 10 different skills so that you can fill up your profile with the skills that you're going to be moving into. Number 7, this is very, very helpful in the beginning. I remember in the very beginning, I used to say, how am I supposed to get a client if I can't show any examples of work that I've done? Getting recommendations is going to be so powerful for you guys. So getting recommendations allows you to basically have other people vouch for either your work, your personality, your character, the kind of creativity that you bring to things. It doesn't necessarily have to be in social media. I'm not asking you to ask people to lie. That's not what I'm about. But rather, ask your peers, your coworkers, maybe a former boss to give you a recommendation on LinkedIn based on the skills that they have seen you, display in your position. This is going to be really powerful. If you don't have anyone, I'll tell you, there's always a workaround. Make some friends online and trade some services, or ask your best friends for recommendations, and they can speak to your character and your personality. So like I said, don't lie about anything, but you can definitely find a best case scenario for every single situation on this whole recommendation step. Step 8, I love that Bo just said that. He said LinkedIn Learning has good training videos that can give certificates, because step 8 is add certifications. If you have certifications already, for example, maybe Toastmasters, which is a public speaking course, or if you've ever taken certifications in management or business, add those certifications into your profile. If you don't have them yet, there are a couple of free ones that I highly recommend, which include HubSpot. They have a great inbound marketing training that is very, very helpful. I also like, what was the other one I did? Google AdWords certification. And that was also very helpful, because I was able to then at least say, I have some certifications. Those are really helpful, because before you have clients, it shows that you have some expertise, that you've put in time and passion into learning a skill set. The last step in optimizing your profile is to hack the competition. So I want you to think of someone who is publicly known as a social media manager. Like I said, it could be me, it could be somebody that you really respect, or the owner of an agency in your hometown, whatever it is. But look at their social media, especially their LinkedIn profile, and note the words that they use. Go through, because you might say, I do images, and they might say excellent graphic design. Start to note the exact words that they use and take note of them, and find ways to implement those words into your resume. It basically just means making over the words that you use to describe what you do, and using the words that are considered more acceptable in the industry. So hacking the competition can be really helpful. Once again, I have to make this clear. I don't recommend that you steal somebody's bio or recommendations or anything. I'm saying get inspiration from the words that they use. What do you guys think so far? Are you still with me? Who's kind of getting excited? Does that sound doable so far? I'm so stoked about this. I'm just really excited for you guys to learn and implement this, and to see you all say, I can totally do this. So far, so good? Awesome. Let's hop into step 2, which is really fun. We're still not even at my favorite part either, you guys. Step 4 is my favorite, so we're going to have a blast. Step 2 is inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is the process of attracting people to you with no promotion or outgoing efforts. It has 100% to do with bringing people to you based on your blogs, based on the content that you put out there. Inbound marketing is almost like you become a magnet for clients. And I'll tell you guys, as soon as I have a drink of water, so I will tell you guys with inbound marketing, it's really powerful, and it happens more and more the longer you work in your business. I am a fan of both inbound and outbound marketing for my business now, but inbound is really, really nice because there's a long-term strategy behind it. So let's talk about what inbound marketing looks like on LinkedIn. Step 1, I want you to post an update on LinkedIn. Now, it's going to be a little bit more professional, so it actually kind of takes some of the pressure off of you. It could be as simple as posting a status that has a blog post, and you share like, wow, I love these insights about bloggers, and you shared the blog post. It could be something that shows a graphic that inspires business people. Could be a video from YouTube that is very motivational. Basically, you want to post an update on LinkedIn, and if possible, I recommend posting it 1 to 2 times a week, just different updates, because it allows your audience, your connections to see, okay, I'm active here, I'm doing this. Step 2, repurpose your blogs. If you've ever written a blog before, whether it's for your website or you've written a long form post on Facebook, repurpose them and definitely post them on LinkedIn as an article. This is so powerful, you guys, because when you start to put content out there that speaks to your expertise and your passion and your skills, people are attracted to you like a magnet. They read your stuff and they're like, oh, I want to know more about this person. Someone who reads a blog of yours and then hears from you is far more likely to say, absolutely, yes, I want to work with this person. If you don't already have any blog posts, that's okay. Commit to writing maybe 1 a month to start so that you don't shock your system with too much writing, but write just a short blog post, 300 to 500 words about something in social media, whether it's, I'm new to this and I'm excited about it, and you tell your journey and your story, or it's, I took on this client and here's what we've done. It's been amazing. So repurpose your blogs and start to post them on LinkedIn as well. Number 3, step 3, follow industry leaders. Now, I like following industry leaders for one purpose and one purpose only. It is because I like when I see the people I look up to posting statuses or updates on LinkedIn, and I simply comment on all of their updates. When other people see you engaging with industry leaders, they're going to want to follow you as well because they're like, oh, that's so cool. I love that piece too. And hey, we have something in common. So follow industry leaders. And if you see their posts in your feed, comment on them. Doesn't hurt anybody, but just don't be a troll. I've experienced more than enough trolls in my lifetime. Don't be a troll. And step 4. Now, this is the only downside to LinkedIn, you guys. LinkedIn groups are really, really lame. They're unfortunately full of spam and there's no connection. I would probably say it's like 99% of the LinkedIn groups are this way. I've never seen a good one yet. But joining groups related to interests can be super helpful, because then when you try to connect with somebody and they see that you're both members of the same group, they're going to be really excited about that and be like, oh, hey, that's awesome. We're in the same group, even if it doesn't really mean anything. As funny as that is, it kind of implies an endorsement. So I am a huge fan of joining groups only so that my future connections know exactly what I'm interested in. Basically, inbound marketing is anything to draw in attention. So blogging, posting, commenting on other people's posts, joining groups, delivering value, all of those things are going to be inbound marketing. Kind of fun, guys. What do you think so far? Because we are about to dive into step 3, and we're getting one step closer to my favorite step in the whole process. Who's going to commit to these first 2 steps so far? Say me in the chat so I know who's awake, who's paying attention, and who is excited. All right. Looks like people are very excited about this. I know you guys are going to kill it. So let's dive on in to step 3. Step 3 is Lion Connections. Lion Connections are amazing. So I want you guys to imagine that you are at a networking party. And this networking party is one that you went to several friends with. So do you guys know what the purpose of a networking party is? I know that's a silly question, but the purpose of a networking party is to increase your network and build connections, right? You would never go to a networking party and say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sitting here with my friends. We're not really here to get to know anybody else. No, that doesn't make any sense. You would absolutely be at a networking party to connect with people. I want you to start to embrace the fact that LinkedIn is basically an online networking party. And a lot of times it used to be called a lion mindset. So lion is a LinkedIn open networker. Basically, it means that you're open to expanding your network. And I find that more people are very open to this every single day. So it's a networking party and your goal is to make new connections. It is not a place where you say, I'm sorry, I'm only sitting here with my friends. Absolutely not. And that doesn't make any sense. So embrace this lion mindset, even though that's not technically what it's called anymore. That's how you can tell I've been on LinkedIn for a while. But embrace that mindset and we're going to have fun with step number 3. So lion connections. The first step is, if you haven't already done this, get the 30-day free trial of Premium for LinkedIn. That might be the business account. It could be, that's actually my favorite one, is the Premium business account. And then make sure to mark on your date, the date that those 30 days are up, and cancel it a few days before, because it's expensive. It's like $60 a month for LinkedIn, which, by the way, guys, isn't necessarily a bad idea because it's such a great place to build your network and get clients. So you can either do the 30-day free trial and then cancel it and do what you can in 30 days, or you can get the 30-day free trial and then stay on it. I personally love the premium version of LinkedIn because I know that anytime I need to, I can get done the work that I need. I can do this challenge and it works. After you upgrade your account to the premium version, I will say it can be done on the free version. It's just very limited. So do a search and you're going to go on up to the top search bar. With the search bar, you're going to go ahead and look for second connections only. This is super important. A first connection is someone on LinkedIn that you are already connected with. A second connection is anyone who's already connected with your connections. And a third connection means that you have no connections in common. So second connections are going to be the most likely to connect with you on LinkedIn. So look for second connections only. You're going to want to search based on job titles. Okay, real fast, I'm just going to explain this to you guys. I've seen a lot of people who focus on working with like marketing managers and social media managers at companies. And what I want you guys to recognize is that you have to know who the decision maker is within a company. In most companies, it's going to be CEO, founder, president, sometimes COO or CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. It is not going to be a manager, a sales rep, sales manager. That's most of the time, that's not going to be the person who makes the hire for a social media manager. So write down these titles: CEO, founder, owner, president, and there are a couple of others as well, like co-founder, sometimes chief marketing officer, but those are the titles that you want to search for on the Lion Connections outreach. Step 5, you're going to go on down the list and you're going to connect. You're going to connect until your fingers are numb. Your goal is to build the biggest network you possibly can. So connect. And honestly, like, it gets tiring sometimes on your computer. So you can always download the app and connect from your phone while you're laying in bed, or when you're, getting a ride somewhere, or taking the bus, or whatever it is. That's a great way. Or even, this is going to sound kind of silly, but even if you're taking a bathroom break, like, sit down and connect. So do you guys get it? What do you have to do? Answer in the chat. What do you have to do? I think you guys have got it. So this is kind of a funny step, but a lot of times when you have the option to connect with somebody, there's the option to include a note. And I actually have found that including a note decreases my chances of having them accept my connection request. I don't know why that is, but I found that every single time, and I've seen the same to be true with quite a few of my students. So with all of my students, what I highly recommend with everybody who is taking this, don't include a note in your initial connect. All right, ready? This is going to be tough, but it's a part of the lesson. Rejection is okay. A lot of people are going to say no. They don't want to connect with you. And that's okay. That's 100% okay. Honestly, rejection is a part of the process. Most people aren't going to be super mean, but occasionally people are mean, and I experience more than my share of them just being in an online business, being in business in general, but just ignore them, brush them off. If they ignore you or send back, why would I want to connect with you? I don't even know you. Ignore it. There's so many more people that you can connect with who are ready to embrace the networking party that is LinkedIn. And number 8, in case I didn't make it clear, connect. Build the biggest connection, build the biggest network that you possibly can on LinkedIn. To give you guys some context, I almost have 11,000 connections on LinkedIn. So there are quite a few. And honestly, that's great for me because when I'm ready to do the LinkedIn challenge or hire someone to do the LinkedIn challenge, they're going to be able to hop in and very easily bump up our revenue, get some more clients, discovery calls. The bigger your network, even if you don't have time for step 4 at the time, it doesn't ever hurt. Remember, connections are your friend, and this is all just a networking party. Does this make sense, guys? I think that you're starting to see kind of where this is going. And I think this is so totally doable so far, even with step 4, which is, by the way, my favorite step. It's all so manageable, and it's something that can be done in 15 or 30 minutes a day so that you can focus on really building up everything else in your business. Guys, we're on my favorite step. This is step 4, outbound marketing. All right, before we dive into my favorite step, I have to tell you guys about the worst experience I had when I got chewed out for spamming somebody. So there was this woman, and she was a chief marketing officer of a company, and I was pitching something to her, but the way that I pitched it was very vague, and I just kind of, I don't know, it seemed really spammy. When I read it back to myself, I was like, oh wow, that really was a terrible pitch. And I sent her this, and she replied, she was someone I really looked up to, and she said, why in the world would I want this? This is spam. I am a marketing professional. And I realized that I had to be more careful and personable in the way that I handle outbound marketing. So lucky for you guys, you get to learn from my mistakes and skip all of those errors and just jump on into successful outbound marketing, which, as Gail knows, step 4 is my favorite. Step 4, outbound marketing. Let's dive on in. So number 1, go to your connections on LinkedIn. There's a place on LinkedIn where you can find your connections. Step 2, you are going to send every single one of your new connections that you've created with the connect process. You are going to personalize that message so it doesn't seem spammy. And you are going to use this super easy template. Dear first name, thanks for connecting. How is business going at business name? I help business owners to, and then obviously it might say create social media strategies. It could say grow their Twitter followings, generate leads using social media. I'd love to discuss how I could support your business with my social media strategies. When would you be free for a phone call? Your name. Seems pretty simple. What do you guys think? It's literally so simple. It's kind of mind-blowing. I'm going to leave it on this screen for a second in case anyone's taking notes, because you're going to want to write this down. Let me tell you, this is the best version of the message that I have created so far. This works incredibly well. The biggest thing is, so guys, just make sure you're not pitching owners of marketing agencies, because marketing agency owners seem to get lumped into this all the time. And I know this because I own an agency and I get pitched quite a bit. And I cannot tell you how many times social media managers will pitch me and be like, hey, we'd like to help you with your social media. And I'm like, I'm a social media manager. Thanks though. But next time, look at my profile before you pitch me, please. Versus a normal business owner is going to be super, super thankful because they're excited. They sometimes say no, but often they'll say yes. And honestly, the first time that it happens, your mind is going to be blown. I have a ton of students, so many students who have gone through this challenge and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect this to work. And it totally does. I mean, if you guys were to start it, I'm willing to bet that on day 4 of this, you would literally be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting discovery calls booked. I never saw this happening. So do you guys have this all written down? Does anyone need another minute to write down this pitch? Go ahead and let me know in the chat. I'll give you guys another minute to write. But this is the simple pitch that you're going to send to all of your connections. So I talk a lot. I talk a lot on videos, on calls. I talk a lot on like live Zoom calls and webinars. And I can always tell when it's a day or a week where I've been talking a lot because all of a sudden, like my throat is super scratchy. So I'm like, oh, water. Okay. You guys got it? Perfect. We are all set. The next step is going to be, because you guys are going to be amazed with the process of this, people are going to say yes. And you're going to freak out. You're going to be like, what do I do? Like, I just got a lead. I just got a real prospect, a person who actually wants to hire me for social media. The first step is to get them on a discovery call. Obviously, there's a lot more to this entire process, but you're going to get them on a discovery call, and ultimately then you are going to send them a proposal. So get them on a discovery call, ask them questions about their social media and their goals. Just ask a lot of open-ended questions and learn about them. Don't try to hardcore sales pitch them. Don't be a hardcore closer on this. Just ask questions and start a dialogue. And all of a sudden you'll find it's not as hard as you thought it was. Get them on a discovery call, ask them questions, send them a proposal. And before you know it, you will have your first client, then your second, then your third, then your 10th. And honestly, guys, it's a feeling unlike any other. So from there, with this whole process, you have a potential client lead and the ability to potentially close them. How effective is this? You guys might be wondering, is this real? Can this really work for me? Let me tell you, every single time I have ever done this process, I get leads, calls, clients booked from it. And not only that, but any time any one of my students says, Rachel, I'm struggling, I need a client, I say, go through the LinkedIn challenge, which, by the way, I call it the 10 days to 1K challenge with the full version of it. I say, go through the 10 days to 1K challenge. And sure enough, on day 4, they're always like, oh my gosh, this works so well. I'm getting calls booked. It literally works every single time. It's so powerful. The only times I don't see it work is when, like, for example, if somebody, is connecting with the wrong people or something like that. But guys, it works. So I want you to stay to the very end because we'll do a live Q&A where I not only answer all of the questions that you're asking in the chat, but you can also ask me questions as well at the end. Any questions you have, thank you so much for holding them to the end. Who thinks this is doable? Who thinks this is doable? I want to know who is excited about this. Who's excited about this? Who says this seems way easier than I thought it would be? Yeah, definitely. Looks like you guys are super excited about this. Isn't this so cool, you guys? Because this isn't some like magic pill training that is really just telling you to set up an expensive high ticket funnel and expensive Facebook ads and expensive, all these different crazy options that are really not viable. This is very, very viable. It works. It's technically all the way across the board free for the first 30 days. It's actually really easy to do. I love it. Helped me to free myself from my 9-to-5. And actually, part of the reason I don't do it now is because every time I do it, I get so many leads that I have to follow up on that as a full-time business owner to 2 businesses and a partner in another business. Like I just ran out of time. So I'm bringing in a full-time sales rep to handle this process because it is like crazy powerful. So you guys think this is doable? Awesome. I'm here to tell you it totally is. Now, I want to share something special with you guys. Is it okay if I share it with you? Excellent. We're getting lots of cool questions. Make sure to stay to the end because I'll answer all those questions, but I'd love to share this with you guys. So as you know, I started out as a social media manager and I figured everything out myself, which was, you guys, so difficult. It was very, very exhausting. I felt frustrated. I remember like the day where I said, I don't even know what a proposal looks like. Like, what is a proposal supposed to look like? And I'm like Googling it online. I'm trying out Upwork. And, you know, I fortunately did figure out this process very fast and this was helpful, but it didn't necessarily help me through the discovery call process or anything. What do you do when you have a bad client? How do you collect payment? So I figured everything out myself just through lots and lots and lots of trial and lots and lots and lots of error. That was really, it was a tough journey, but I was like, I'm determined to figure this out 100% yes. And so I actually decided that a part of my passion is to actually support social media managers to find success and have healthy, sustainable businesses that are manageable, to feel like they're not alone in that process. So I created Social Media United, which is the other side of my business. Social Media United is a university, you guys, where I bring together social media managers, and it is so powerful. Social Media United has 50 plus video trainings. I think last time we counted, we were over 70 and it might be over 80 this week, but video trainings on everything from Facebook to how to price yourself, how to do a discovery call, how to find your target market. I do real life, worksheets, templates, swipes that are the exact things that I use. So you can use them in your own business. You can literally copy them, paste them, and then just tweak them for your own business. So you save time and don't deal with the hassle that I dealt with of trying to figure out what everything was supposed to look like. We do weekly trainings and master classes with industry experts in copy, blogging, sales, tax accountants, all across the board, people who specialize in social hacking and going viral. We bring in all of these different amazing, incredible experts in different parts of the industry. But also I do right now a monthly strategy call where I bring real life business owners into SMU and I show them and show you guys a live strategy call where I devise an entire strategy for their business, and you guys get to see how that all plays out. So we've done the beauty industry. We just did the white collar industry. Next up, we're doing ugly industries like plumbers or mechanics or something like that. So we've got these awesome real life case studies. There are over 400 social media managers in this amazing community where it's like family. You guys, these people have each other's backs. We have each other's backs. We're supporting each other, answering questions. It's a place where you can feel safe to never ask a dumb question, because I know that I'm the queen of dumb questions. And it's literally one of the only places I've ever found online where you can say, I feel comfortable asking what feels like a dumb question. Live Q&A calls every single month, which is so much fun. We get everybody on a live video call and everyone can ask their questions live, and we all join face to face, or some people turn their video off if they're shy. So much fun to connect. But plus we have Slack communities for a closer connection. So we have advanced communities, we have beginner communities, and there are calls I think it's every 2 weeks for each community, where some of them are in the AM and some of them are in the PM. So you can connect with the people on the side of the world who are awake at the same time as you. Now, the amazing thing about Social Media United is all of this is just $49 per month. But I want to give you guys the opportunity to join for 7 days for just $1. So you can hop on in and get the full version of the 10 days to 1K challenge. You can hop on in and find out what a proposal looks like, or find out where you should start with pricing. So there are a ton of different things that you can jump in and immediately benefit from. For example, I know that coming up this week, we have a masterclass on copy. We also have, I believe we have another training as well coming up this week, which is really exciting. So many things going on, and I want to share that offer with you guys. So I am going to go ahead and share this with you guys on the screen. Let's see. And like I said, let me know if you guys can see it. It is just $1 for 7 days, and you get complete access. Nothing is held back. So I'm so grateful for you guys being here. Now we can dive on in to the live Q&A, which I am very excited about. So I'm going to hop on into the first questions that popped up. And as you have questions, feel free to answer them or ask them in the chat. And as you start to ask those questions, I will answer them. Can you guys see the button to join SMU for $1 for 7 days? If not, it is underneath the offers tab if you can't see that. But I think you should be able to see it. Just let me know. And then let me see what questions. Okay, perfect. So Hector said, can you repeat the titles, please? Yes. So the titles are, I know Kat and Sarah both got them, but it's CEO, founder, owner, president, chief marketing officer, and co-founder. Gail said, wouldn't step number 4 be your favorite step? Yep. Marin says, do you use the business or the sales platform for LinkedIn? Definitely business. Business is really a lot more powerful. I know some people love the Sales Navigator, but it's a totally different learning process. So I'm a bigger fan of the business platform. Christy said, what did you say to put in the blank? And I help business owners with X on the pitch form. So I would say something like, I help business owners with growing their Twitter following. I help business owners with social media strategies. I help business owners with lead generation using Facebook ads. You can really fill in the blank with whatever it is you want. You can keep it super vague when you're first starting out, and then you can niche it down as you start to find what you're really good at, because everyone has their own skill set, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Mindy said, I'm wondering how long it will take to get going since I have to set up a new LinkedIn. It'll take a little bit longer, but if you hit it really hard for the first 10 days, then over the next couple of days, then you'll start to see the fruits of it. Lena says, can I request for the details for the slide under outbound marketing? I was not able to get all the pointers. Yeah, I'll hop on back to that. Let's just see real fast. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. So there it is. Lena, it's go to your connections on LinkedIn, send each one a message, personalization is good, and then you use this template. I'll leave that up for just a minute. We'll hop to the next question. Eva says, on which social media do you specialize in? Honestly, a better question I think would be like, which ones don't I specialize in? My favorites are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm starting to really, really enjoy YouTube. I'm very talented with Facebook ads. And so honestly, there are a couple. You don't necessarily have to specialize. I would argue that my specialty is coming up with strategies and then putting those strategies into motion. So I can meet with any business owner and pretty quickly come up with an insane strategy for their growth that will result in something big that moves the needle for their business. I think my students would agree with that too. Like, my specialty is strategies. And while I'm very good at putting together funnels and Facebook ads and making things go viral on social media or mini viral, it's the strategy that I love because it's so customizable. All right, let me fast forward to live Q&A. All right. What other questions were there? Mindy said, do you have to create a business profile or can you use your personal LinkedIn profile? Yeah, use your personal. Absolutely. You just will probably want to use the free trial of the business version of LinkedIn because that is going to allow you to search for more connections throughout the day. But yeah, use your personal LinkedIn profile. Katie says, any tips on how to set your pricing? This is where I struggled the most. Yeah, definitely. So one of the biggest things is figuring out how much time everything takes you, and then kind of calculate what you're charging. Don't charge hourly for anything, charge retainer for absolutely everything. So a monthly retainer. And then what I recommend is, if somebody's pretty new, I recommend, $500 to $1,000 a month for management of like 3 platforms. If you're pretty experienced, then I recommend $1,000 to about $2,000 a month, maybe even $2,500 for 3 platforms or Facebook ads and funnels. And if you're expert status, then you can charge over $2,500 a month. For example, a lot of my clients right now are $3,500 a month up to $5,500. So let's see. Mindy said, are the strategy sessions with different industries saved, or can you view them all live? You guys, that's one of the greatest things about SMU, Social Media United, is everything is available the moment you join. You don't have to sit and wait for all the lessons to be dripped out. You can immediately join, get access to absolutely everything. So you can join and literally see every single case study, every single Q&A, every single video training. You can actually hop into the Facebook group and see all of the different questions people are asking and the conversations. And sometimes the conversations are amazing and they're about advanced social media strategies. And sometimes they're about I need help. I'm going through imposter syndrome. I'm stressed and scared. And then people talk everybody through it and help each other out and support. It's so cool. Let's see. Sarah says, is there a way of achieving everything you are saying without having to hop on calls regularly, just in case that concept is very alien? I know of a couple people who have done it a little more digitally. For example, I'm just trying to think. David, wouldn't you say Eleni did that a little bit? So we have one person in SMU where she joined, and her passion is supporting social media managers who are already successful. So she actually joined, and she's mostly working as a subcontractor for different SMU crew members, different Social Media United members. And I think they only hopped on one call to seal the deal. It was either 1 or 2 calls, but now we're not always going to what am I going to say? We're not always going to be on calls with clients. A lot of clients don't necessarily want calls all the time. Some clients want a call every week, and that's where you just set your own boundaries. Jay says, is it possible for you to share an example of a strategy you pitched before for a business? So I don't pitch strategies on calls to new clients. I actually just ask them a lot of questions. So strategies are something I would save for the big dogs that I know are qualified. And actually, I'm not a huge fan of pitching strategies because most companies are absorbing strategies and then implementing it internally. Mindy said, did you have a niche when you first started? My niche is small businesses, and I'm not sure if I can make money working with small businesses. It is definitely a little more difficult. So small businesses, I think one thing that's really important is that you're missing just one key word, and that word is established. You don't want to work with startups or struggling mom and pop shops. You want established businesses, established small businesses. I've worked with a small business that made $15 million a year in revenue, and there are small businesses that are lucky to bring in $100,000 a year. So I definitely am not a fan of niching. I'm more of a fan of finding your dream client, what that person's like, and then finding more of them. Jay said, can I hold off joining SMU until Saturday so I can maximize the time? Sure, that's totally fine. Gail says, will the offer of SMU be available tomorrow? Yes, absolutely. I will say, just so you guys know, with the SMU, it is 7 full days. So it's not a partial 7th day like some offers have. It is 7 full days and then a couple hours as well. So just kind of good to know. Who's excited about this? Who is excited to implement this LinkedIn challenge? The other thing too, you guys, if you want a little bit more help in the process of optimizing your LinkedIn profile or figuring out the step-by-step processes to doing this entire process, there are several training videos within SMU under LinkedIn. There's an entire segment on LinkedIn that just focuses on LinkedIn in SMU. And so you can learn everything about it, watch video after video, and implement. And it also has worksheets, which is kind of cool. So it can help you to walk through the process. So you guys are stoked about it, aren't you? So Who here has questions about Social Media United? I know that sometimes it's a little bit crazy when you see somebody in your news feed. You're like, I don't know this person. I have no idea who they are. David says, either way, you'll know if it's for you on day one. Thank you. Yeah, but it can be so nerve-wracking. And I will tell you guys, when I first started, like I was really scared of a lot of the people I saw in my news feed. It just seemed like a lot of them were selling something that wasn't real. I don't know if that makes sense. Has anyone ever kind of seen that before, where it's like they're selling something that they're not doing? It's like that's the best way to put it. I saw all these people who were selling courses on, basically they were selling you on the dream and then putting together these vague courses that didn't mean anything. And it really bothered me. And as I kind of jumped into the social media space, part of the reason that I created SMU is because I realized that there weren't any other social media managers who truly were running social media every single day and teaching it. There were very, very, like most of the big names just create courses and make money from that. And it bothered me. And so that was a huge part of the reason that I wanted to create an ethical program that actually supported people. And the coolest part is I actually work with clients every single day. So I'm not asking anybody to do something I'm not doing. I work with clients. I know what it's like. Like I said, we just had our first $30,000 month on the client side. So I'm very familiar with what that process looks like and what it takes to scale a successful business. What other questions do you guys have before we call it quits? Who's considering the $1 trial? And by the way, I'm going to totally have to pull out a calculator because I need more coffee today. But $1 for 7 days, you guys, $1 for 7 days, by the way, is really, really affordable for almost everybody in almost every single country. 14 cents per day. So literally you can hop in, and if you decide it's not a good fit or you don't like me or whatever, that's totally fine. But the biggest thing is that I just want to provide resources to you so you can hop in, grab the proposal, get what you need, hopefully secure a client in the first couple of days or even in the first month. So, and yes, Alicia, we've totally had some people signing up, which is pretty cool. I'm super excited to get to know all of you guys. This is totally like my training style. I'm very to the point. I'm very, you can ask me just about anything. David's asked me just about anything on calls before. Okay, let me hop in and answer some more questions. First, Mindy said, I took an expensive course from people who stopped doing SMM as soon as they launched the courses. Refreshing that you're still doing SMM because you're still learning and can update all of SMU on the newest info. I think that makes a huge difference because it's really easy to tell people how to handle clients and like client situations if they don't actually deal with it. Because it's like, if anyone here who deals with clients, you know that sometimes things aren't always perfect with clients. Sometimes it's tough. And when you go to a mentor who's not working with clients, it's easy for them to say like, oh, just fire them right away or just suck it up. It'll be fine. But it's like, what does that really look like? What happens if your biggest client is your greatest source of financial gain and they're not a great client? Or what if it's a client that's a small budget and you can't get them to increase the budget? How do you handle those real life situations? So totally, Mindy. All right. Janice says, I'm handling social media coordinators. How do you assess them? Janice, are you a hiring manager or a marketing manager or at an agency, I'm guessing? Angela asks, so when we get the clients to be successful and keep them, do we just do the same 4 steps for them? No, then you're going to jump on into social media management, which is it's a pretty fun process. So sometimes you're going to be posting on social media for your clients. Sometimes you're going to be on Twitter tweeting. Sometimes you'll be using their Instagram. Basically, Angela, do you use social media like for yourself? The cool thing is this process does work for clients too, but most of our clients don't necessarily want like leads in this manner, if that makes sense. Let's see. Elizabeth says, I'm going to set up a LinkedIn account. Awesome. I can't wait to see you. Let's see. Tanya says, I'm waiting for a slowdown to join. Okay, cool. Lena says, I would like the SMU, but I do not have a credit card. Is there another mode of payment? There is not at this time. PayPal just doesn't integrate the way that it needs to. So far it's only credit card is the only way. So if there's some way that you can work with somebody and you really want in, just talk to them and say like, hey, can I pay you for this monthly? Bob asked the same question. Are there other options? There are not other options. We don't have credit cards, anything besides credit cards available at this time. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I know that's kind of crazy, but is PayPal more common in the Philippines? I'm guessing. If so, PayPal? Possibly. So we don't have it integrated, but I could possibly talk to somebody about getting it integrated. Yeah, good question. Okay. Oh, James has a really good solution. He said you can get Visa gift cards. I guess that's a pretty good way to go about it. Okay, that makes sense. Angela says, yes, I have a client that wants me to get discovery calls booked for her. Oh, so then this would be a really good process for her. So let's see. What other questions do you guys have? Let's see. Yeah, so that sounds like a really good solution. In the meantime, Visa gift cards, we don't do Payoneer. PayPal doesn't integrate very well, so it's going to take, I won't have it done for a little while. It's going to take some time because there's a lot of custom coding that has to happen. Nikki says, is there a specific duration per client? I mean, is the service within a year or a lifetime? Oh, that's a great question. So I personally assume that most of my clients will be with me for about 6 months. That's pretty average. But in the beginning, when you're first learning everything, usually you'll see some clients who will be lifers and they'll stay with you long term. And sometimes there's churn of clients. So they'll stay for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And it's kind of like any other service business. You just always want to make sure that your pipeline is full. So until when can we avail of this promo? Rachel, a card takes 3 weeks, I think. Well, this one's going to be available long-term, the $1 one. Janice says, as a social media manager, I'm handling social media coordinators. How do I assess them? Is it fair to evaluate through lead generation? Oh, that's a really good question. If they're social media managers, I think their biggest goals are going to be, it depends on what goals have been laid in front of them. But I think that it's most important that you have clear what the goals are for each account. Are you trying to grow your reach? Are you trying to grow your following? Are you trying to grow your sales? And obviously, like, sales is always an underlying goal, but sometimes social media isn't necessarily just about leads. If they're doing Facebook ads, lead generation and sales can be a really great way to evaluate them for sure. Mina says, is the $49 lifetime access? It is $49 US per month. And that price, I will say, over the next month or so, the price is going to be going up to about double. So it'll be $97 per month in about a month. And so if you get in at the $49 per month price point, you're grandfathered in forever. So your price never goes up. What other questions do you guys have? These are great questions, by the way. What questions do you guys have? If any come up right now, I'll answer them. And if not, I'm ready to eat lunch. Let's see. What other questions? Aw, thanks, David. All right, guys, I'm so glad that you joined me on this. If you are watching the replay, I won't be necessarily around to answer everything in the chat, but you guys are awesome. I hope did you all get tons of value from this? Was this helpful to everybody? I love knowing that something makes a difference for people. If you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can ever afford the trial, another way to, make this happen as fast as humanly possible is to implement this over the next couple of days, secure clients, and then it's going to be a no-brainer. Then you got to learn how to do social media. So I believe in every single one of you guys. I want to see you all be super successful. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see most of you in SMU. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, guys.